العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
Let's move on. وسئل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was asked عن بيع التمر, عن بيع التمر الرطب, فقال أينقص إذا جف, فقالوا نعم, فنهى عن ذلك, رواه الخمسة. طيب, this masala we already studied it last week. Is it permissible to sell dates that have been picked, which are مثلا 500 grams of dates that have been picked, or 500 kilos of dates that have been picked for dates that are on a tree? Is it permissible? Why not? There's no tamathul, it is not equal. Why is it not equal? The illah, the Messenger ﷺ mentioned, أَيَنْقُصُ إِذَا جَفَّ. When the dates, when they become dry, do they become smaller in weight? Yes, because when they're ripe and they're on the tree, they're wet, there's moist. And they obviously weigh less or more? They weigh more. So that is not permissible. This masala we talked about last week. Pretty clear, صح? طيب. وَنَهَى عَنْ بَيْعِ الصُّبْرَةِ. Now this, I want you to associate it back with the qa'idah that we studied recently. Last lesson or the lesson before. وَنَهَى عَنْ بَيْعِ الصُّبْرَةِ. And the Messenger ﷺ prohibited selling a bundle of dates, min at-tamr, a bundle of dates, for example, a bag, a carrier bag, for example, full of dates, لَا يُعْلَمُ مَكِيلُهَا, that we don't know how much they weigh. I give him a carrier bag full of dates. I give Muhammad a carrier bag full of dates, and I don't know how much they weigh. The Shaykh says it is not permissible to sell that بِالْكَيْلِ الْمُسَمَّى مِنَ التَّمَرِ. I can't sell that for a certain amount of dates that I know how much they weigh. So for example, I can't exchange a case, a bag, a carrier bag full of dates for 10 kilos of dates. Is that understood? Muhammad has 10 kilos of dates. We know how much Muhammad's dates weigh. How much? 10 kilos. Like in the dates that I have on me, a carrier bag full, a big bag full of dates, but I don't know how much they weigh. Is it permissible for me to sell it to Muhammad, exchange? Why not? Jahala, that's number one, jahala. What is the principle related to this? We studied it on the matan. Now, الجهل بالتماثل كالعلم بالتفاضل. And that qa'idah was mentioned in the matan. So the fact that I don't know if this is equal to the 10 kilos of Muhammad, the fact that I don't know is equivalent to it not being equal at all. Is that understood? Be patient with me here. Kitabul Buyu' at these stages is difficult. Why? Because these transactions you don't sell dates. And inshallah, alhamdulillah, you don't do bay' al-riba and bay' al-'ina. So they're new to you. These transactions are new to you. Lakin, it's not my fault, nor is it your fault. Why? Because this is the first time you're studying it, I assume. Kitab al-Tahara, if we were learning Kitab al-Tahara, you would find it easier. And Kitab al-Salah and Zakah. Why? Why would you find it easier? Because you've studied it in so many places. And it's studied a lot. Not just here, like in many centers, in many masjids. Kitab al-Tahara is the book that people start off with. Like rarely do people reach Kitab al-Buyu', right? And that's what makes it difficult. Not only for the teacher, like for the student as well. Because we barely reach these stages, these sorts of, these Kitab al-Buyu' and so on. طيب. Like you've understood the qa'idah. Al-jahlu bi-tamathul kal-jahli bi-tafadul. Kal-ilmi bi-tafadul. طيب. Can I exchange a bag full of gold for 100 grams of gold? Can I exchange? Huh? Why not? Huh? It's a fixed measure. No, he's got a fixed measure, but have I got a fixed measure? La. What qa'idah do we apply? Al-jahlu bi-tamathul kal-ilmi bi-tafadul. طيب. The very last mas'ala in this part, or in today's lesson, and in this chapter anyway, as it is, I want you to understand the Surah Al-Mas'ala first. Surah Al-Mas'ala. or مثلا Abdurrahman owes me 500 kilos of dates. Abdurrahman owes me how much? Last Ramadan, or the Ramadan that just passed, he took 500 grams of dates. Sah? He has to give me back how much? 500 grams of dates. طيب. 500 grams. Who do the dates belong to? Even though Abdurrahman's got them, who do they really belong to? To me, sah? طيب. So he owes me a debt. Sah? عفوا. He owes me a debt of how much? 500 grams. That debt, can I sell it to him? Can I sell those dates to him?
But the transaction already be haram if it's delayed.
Huh? Why would it be haram?
It's delayed, no?
Like he's borrowed something from me. He's borrowing. Is it haram to borrow dates? Like it's not selling though. It's not selling. It's debt. It's a debt. I said debt, didn't I? Did I say sell? Afwan, I lent it to him. Obviously it's not sell because obviously that's meant to have to matter. Like I lent it to him. He borrowed it from me. That's permissible, sah. Like, what should he give me back? Same amount, sah. Like, can I sell that to him? Can I sell it to him? What makes sense I can sell it to him? Huh? I'm the owner. Okay. No, don't ask me a question. Answer the question. Huh? I can't sell it. You all let me down today. La, you all let me down. You didn't read the matan beforehand. Why didn't you read the matan beforehand? Huh? La, the fact that you don't understand the masala is because you didn't read the book. No one read the book beforehand. I don't even need to ask you, did anyone read the book beforehand? Because if you read the book beforehand, you'd understand the masala. And when seeking knowledge, that is a kabira min al-kabair. That is a sin from the major sins of seeking knowledge. If it was important for you to read the book in Kitab al-Tahara, Salah, Zakah, Hajj, Siyam, wallahi, it's more important for you to read the book in Biyur. Why? Because you have to be able to picture the mas'ala. I don't want you to know the answer. I don't want you to know the answer. But the fact that you didn't even understand the mas'ala shows that you didn't read the book in advance. And you're meant to read the book. That transaction that I said to you, that I've lent 500 kilos of dates to Abdurrahman, the Shaykh says, وَأَمَّا بَيْعُ مَا فِي الذِّمَّةِ. As for selling what is owed, يعني what Abdurrahman owes for me, فَإِنْ كَانَ عَلَى مَنْ هُوَ عَلَيْهِ جَازَ. Muhammad, read the English one, please.
It is permissible to sell something.
Listen carefully. Students, is there any way of turning this AC off? So, no, because we can't hear. Listen carefully, right? Listen carefully.
It is permissible to sell something, one is owed.
It is permissible to sell something with one that is owed.
Only to a person who owes it.
Only to a person that he owes it, that owes it to him. So Abdurrahman owes me this 500. I can sell it to him. Why? Because he's meant to give it to me anyway. It's technically mine, as one of the sisters said. I am the owner. I can sell it to him. But I have to sell it for the price of that day. The price of dates today, not a month and a half ago when he took the dates. Like in the price of, how much? The price of what? Today. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا بأس, is no problem. لا بأس أن تأخذها بسعر يومها. It is okay if you take it on the price of the price of today. The price of today. Who can give me an example of this? Make up any example. The only way we're going to understand biyur is if we give a lot of examples. I lent Abdurrahman a car. Okay? I lent Abdurrahman a car. لا can't give something else. Gold. طيب gold مثلا gold. I borrowed him 100 grams of gold. He owes me what? 100 grams of gold. He says, listen, I don't have your gold, but let me give it to you in cash. Let me give it to you in cash. Is that permissible? But it has to be the equal amount of the gold, of the price today. طيب. مثلا, a mobile phone. He took my mobile phone and he has borrowed it. He owes me a mobile phone. He doesn't owe me the exact mobile phone. He gives me a mobile phone. The phone was worth, let's say, he's meant to give me a mobile phone back. Can I sell that mobile phone to him? Of course I can. Remember the dates? He's meant to give me the dates. I can sell it to him. Because this item belongs to me. I know it's in his hands, or he's meant to give it to me. It is a responsibility upon him. Lakin, this item belongs to me. So I can sell it to him. As long as it's the person that owes it. Is that understood? طيب. وذلك بشرط قبض عوضه قبل تفرق صح. As long as we exchange it there and then. وإن كان, now the second scenario. وإن كان على غيره. Like if it is someone else that I'm selling it to, لا يصح. It is not permissible. لأنه غرر. Read that last bit, the second bit. However, if it's sold to someone else,
the transaction is invalid because it will involve risk or uncertainty.
Naam. That 500 that Abdurrahman owes me of dates, I can sell it to him, sah? Because it's between me and him. Can I sell those 500 kilos of dates to Umar? The Shaykh says what? It is not permissible. Why? Because there's uncertainty. What is the uncertainty? Abdurrahman might not even give it to him. Or Abdurrahman may say to him, I'll give it to you in a week's time, in a month's time, 3 months' time. He may not give it to him. Or he may delay it. So because of that, the Shaykh says it is impermissible. صح? طيب, طبعا that's the madhab of the Hanabila. It is impermissible because it is not, there's uncertainty. طيب. Lakin there's another opinion that it is permissible to sell it to someone else other than the one that initially owed the dates. If, with the condition that he is able to give him the item and he is able to retrieve the item from him. So for example, if it's someone that's trustworthy and we know he's going to give it to him immediately, then that is fine. Then that is fine. I can take the dates back and sell it to someone else. That's allowed. طيب. The last mas'ala, well, I thought it was in the books. Somewhere in the book it's there, lakin, somewhere in the explanation, lakin it is not in the matan. There's a mas'ala called ضع وتعجل. ضع وتعجل. Which is the opposite to some of the masail that we've been studying. مثلا Muhammad, I lent Muhammad £1,000. I lent Muhammad £1,000. And I said to him, give it back to me in 6 months' time. In 6 months' time, how much is he meant to give me? £1,000. Can I go to Muhammad now and say, listen, Muhammad, I need the cash now. Give me £700 back. Just give me pay now. I'll explain it again. مثلا, مثلا, Muhammad, I've lent Muhammad 1,000. And he's meant to give me how much back in 6 months' time? £1,000. £1,000. طيب, £1,000. A few weeks down the line, months down the line, I say to Muhammad, listen, I know we said we're going to study, you're going to give it to me in 6 months. Lakin, please give me, I'll drop £300, give me £700, but give it to me now. Is that transaction permissible? I've decreased the amount that I expect back from Muhammad.
It's a benefit.
If I ask you a question, don't ask me a question back. Is that permissible?
He will give it back that time. Like he might not have 700 that far.
Fine, if he doesn't have it back, then obviously that cancels out the whole thing. But he does have it. He wants to give it back to me. I forfeited my own right. So is it permissible? Ijma' between the brothers. Ijma' brothers. Sisters, is it permissible? No comment, huh? Yes? Huh? The riba is an increase. Okay, fair enough. The riba is an increase.
It's still a benefit for
Naam, excellent. There's a benefit for me and Muhammad. I get cash now, and he gets it less. So it's permissible. It's called ضع وتعجل. That's what it's called. ضع, يعني put it back and تعجل rush. And meaning, instead of making it 6 months, we'll make it 2 months or 3 months, but you give me back 700. Is that understood? It will make it easier if you read the book in advance, like before the lesson. Please, I urge you to read the class, read the dags. And we did study this in Khulasat Ta'deem al-Ilm, صح? Like you need to be consistent. I know, mashallah, all of you are strong students of knowledge that are diligent and so on. Lakin, don't forget, don't get lazy. Read the class beforehand, it will make it easier. طيب, we're going to move on to usul. There were 3 questions from the sister last week, right? The first is it permissible to sell abayas despite different opinions on the correct hijab? Is it permissible to sell abayas despite the different opinions on the correct hijab? There are no different opinions on the correct hijab, sisters. There are no opinions on the hijab. The hijab is the garment that the women cover themselves up from head to toe, and it has to meet conditions. It can't be tight, it can't give a description to the body, it has to be baggy and so on. These are some of the conditions of the hijab. There's no difference of opinion. What I think the sister is referring to is different types of abayas, where they sometimes wear fancy abayas with flowers going all along, some baggy hands, sometimes tight hands, and so on. Like it's not permissible to sell those type of abayas that contradict the Sharia. It is not permissible to sell abayas that contradict the Sharia. وَلَا تَعَاوُنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Do not help one another and cooperate upon sin and transgression. It is not permissible for that sister, that Muslim sister, to wear that type of abaya. Therefore, it's not permissible for you to sell it to her. Okay, what if you are not sure of what the person will do with the product that is sold, makeup, perfume? The asl is what? Al-hil. The asl, the default ruling is that it is permissible. And you can't ask everyone, what are you going to do with this item that you're going to buy? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to wear it? You're going to wear it indoors or outdoors? You're not asked to ask people. Lakin if you know that the person will use it in an impermissible way, then it is not permissible to sell it to him. There was a question I came across recently. One of these people that changed themselves, or claimed to change themselves, their gender, right? From that letters community, they came to a Muslim shop, a shop that sells abayas. And that thing wanted to buy a abaya. And the sister, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve her and bless her business, found it difficult. So she was asking, is it permissible or not? Like, and if that sort of thing walks into a shop that you own, then don't sell it to them. Don't sell it to them. Because that thing can go into a masjid with that, and then they can sit in the women's section. And we don't know what that is. We don't know what it is. Is it permissible for 2 items to be from the same jins, but different in their illah? i.e. gold for gold, but one person intends it for thamaniya whilst the other intends it for huli, yani, as beautification. No? The item, gold itself is used to buy things and sell things. It's a thaman. Regardless of whether it is used for jewelry, regardless whether it's used for storage, regardless whether it is whatever it is used for. So gold and gold, regardless of what it's used for. Graham. Da'wat ta'ajjul, the last mas'ala.
Does that have to be initiated by the one who gave up the loan? It can't be initiated by the one who's paying back.
Like, it can be any one of them that comes up with the idea.
Also, I can say, if I owe someone, I can say to him, I can pay less amount but quicker.
Less amount but quicker. That's if you can offer that. You can offer him. You can make the offer. Lakin, if you know that that person is in need, and then you think, let me take advantage of his need, that's not from good manners. That's not from the akhlaq of the Muslim. To take advantage of the need of his brother. Meaning, instead of me giving him 1,000, maybe he needs a 500 now, so I'll give him 500. But sometimes there are things that are makarim al-akhlaq, where you take the most noble character, noble etiquettes. From the noble etiquettes, if you see your brother in need, that you owe him 1,000, that you give him the 1,000. You don't do da'wah ta'ajjul. You say, listen, I know you need a bit of money now. Take 500 and forfeit 500. That's not what a Muslim does.
I just wanted to mention an example for a 100 day. It happens quite often. You know, like when someone gives someone day, and then they say to them, when a person who owns who's young wants a day, he says, where's my day? And he says, he hasn't got it. He goes to another person to get day from that person so he can pay off this happens quite often.
That is a surah. That is a surah. Like when that person, when he gets money from the third person, مثلا, you owe me 1,000, I send you to a third person, and I say, go get it from him, sir. How much does he give you?
The same day the person owns.
£1,000, sir, and you give it back to me. So now you owe him rather than me. Naam. Naam. They also talk about, there are different surahs, different scenarios that can happen. From them is that you send him to another person, and that person gives him an item which is actually more than the actual debt, and then the person, Abdullah, ends up owing me and owing the third person as well, and then that is all taken advantage of the need of the Muslim.
There's something that also occurs a lot. You know, a lot of people, they do is like they give a person, for example, a qard, right, and they say to them, do me a favor.
That's not permissible.
Maybe not be in the form of money, but that doesn't take away the fact that.
But that masala we talked about directly, that was mansus alayhi in the matan. The mu'allif mentioned it.
People to carry out favors.
Or do me a favor, it's not permissible. The only way that it would be permissible is if people would normally do favors for one another. Normally do favors for one another. Like, for example, if two people are brothers, two brothers, shaqiq, yani two brothers, and one lends the other money, normally they would exchange favors as it is anyway. Normally. So that sort of situation doesn't come into it. And even gifts. Usually they would gift each other, give each other gifts. Lakin, it is not permissible if it is to the person, if that relationship wasn't there in the first place. If that relationship wasn't there in the first place. And it doesn't even relate to just cash or money. Anything. For example, مثلا, I say, Abdullah, I'm lend you £1,000, lakin speak to a certain sister for me for marriage. Tell your wife to speak to a certain sister for marriage and I want to marry. That's not cash, is it? Lakin that is not permissible. Because it is a qard jarra naf'a. It is a qard jarra naf'a. A qard, a debt that brings about a benefit.
Would it be correct to translate as bribery?
In a way, bribery, not exactly, but it can be a form of bribery. It can be a form of bribery. It can be a form of.
Question, just on the book, I forgot about it online. Just one question, but it's not related to the topic. Are you willing to take it?
What is it?
It's just a simple question. The sister's asking, can a sister consider more than one brother for marriage?
Can a sister consider more than brother for marriage? Of course.
One brother for marriage.
She can consider 10 for marriage.
But
It's her choice.